Okay, judges, we're ready, so I'm going to go ahead and admit the parties.
Morning, Judge.
Good morning. Welcome, everybody.
Good morning.
So
There we go.
before
We
we
can hear
get
you now.
going, I'm sorry?
Hey, how are you?
Good, good. You got Mr. Xiao here and Mr. Yuna.
We can hear you. Can
You
you
got
hear
Mr.
us okay?
Yeah, we hear you.
Excellent. Okay. So
Can hear
before
you
we go
okay.
on the record, I wanted to make sure everyone can do a mic check for me, please. If everyone could just say good morning, and we'll make sure everyone's microphones are working.
Sunny Paley, my microphone is working.
Excellent.
Good morning, Jason Parker.
Good morning, Chad Backus here.
Good morning. Okay, let's see. We're going to go on a live stream shortly. If we could, please start the live stream. Again, my name is Judge Greg Turner. I'm joined by my colleagues, Judge Stephen Kim and Judge Josh Aldrich. We have a stenographer present, Ms. Alonzo. She'll be reporting the hearing verbatim. So to ensure that we have an accurate record, we just ask every person that speaks to do so one at a time and avoid speaking over one another. I'll admit right now that's an admonishment to me as much as anybody, but please speak clearly and loudly, and when needed, Ms. Alonzo may ask the members she'll interject to ensure that she gets a proper transcript. So please pay attention if she is asking you to slow down or speak more clearly or not talk over one another, please. Our endeavor here is to try to get a clean record for our hearing today. And after the hearing, she'll report an official transcript, which will be made available on OTA's website. Also, just a reminder, OTA is not a court. We're an administrative appeals body. We are independent from the taxing agencies. We have our endeavor here is to try to establish a record on which a decision will be based and to conduct an orderly hearing. I may interrupt the hearing if we get out of order or become counterproductive. And that's sort of part of my role as the lead. My co-panelists are, however, equal participants today in the decision-making process and in the hearing, so they may have questions for you as well. So be aware of that. We'll try to have an orderly hearing today. Are there any questions before we get started on the record? Okay, seeing none.
Sorry,
you can
Judge,
either,
last
if you have,
sentence, you got to cut off.
Sir, I'm sorry. Can you hear me okay?
Your last sentence, you're cutting off.
Okay.
Now we can,
so I
yes.
just want to make sure if there are any questions before we go on the record. No. Okay. So we're going on the record now. The case before us today is the Vape Lounge, Inc. OTA's case number is 240415981. The date is January 14th. The time is approximately 10:22 a.m. The hearing is being held electronically in agreement with the parties. I am, as I said, I'm the lead judge, Judge Turner, and I am joined by my co-panelists, Judge Kim and Judge Aldrich, and they are equal participants in today's hearing and deliberating and ultimately determining the outcome of this appeal. If we could take a moment, please, for the parties to introduce themselves. I'll start with the appellant. If you could please introduce yourself, your role, and your relationship to the appellant Vape Lounge, Inc.
Hello, my name is Danny Sale. I am the CPA, and I'm helping my client for the audit procedure. Yeah, that's it.
And Mr. Yunin?
Hi, this is Mark Yunan. I am the father, and I'm helping my kids with this situation here.
Excellent. For the department,
Sunny Paley, attorney with CDTFA.
Chad Backus, an attorney with CDTFA.
And Jason Parker, Chief of Headquarters Operations Bureau, also with CBTFA.
excellent. So we held a pre-hearing conference on December 16th, 2024 at about 10:30 a.m., which we determined that there was a single issue to be discussed today, and that the evidence for the record would be the exhibits submitted by the department, I think it's A through F, and that there would be no testimony provided by any witnesses. The issue before us today, as we had decided at the appeals conference, at the pre-hearing conference, excuse me, was whether the unremitted tax reimbursement collected, the UTC penalty in section 6597 of the Revenue Tax Code, was properly imposed, and if so, whether the penalty should be relieved. As we discussed, there was exhibits submitted by the department, which consisted of the Appeals Bureau decision, the audit work papers, and the history of interaction on the department's records. With that, if there are any questions, I'm willing to start with appellant's presentation. You have, according to, as we agreed to at the pre-hearing conference, 15 minutes for your presentation. The department will have 15 minutes in reply, and there will be 5 minutes left over for appellant to respond. There aren't any additional questions. I'll pass it off to you, the appellant. You can begin.
So, hi again, I'm Mr. Yunan. Thank you all for your service. Thank you for being here. We have like a situation I stated last time. One of my son, he was a Marine, and he came up and he's ringing up inventory items for the shop from the warehouse, because we do have a warehouse in the back, as a sales tax item, retail, just for him to control the inventory. And when I was asked for help, and I came in, I told him, no, this is wrong, because my kids, like, they're like, one of them got an associate degree, another one is a UCSB graduate, and the other one was a Marine. So they were not new in the business. When I came in, I tried to help out and do everything. So I stated to the CDTFA, and I said, hey, that was an honest mistake. And I showed them a record. They were bringing up like $7,000, $15,000, like transfer inventory, but he counted as a sales tax. They came back with an audit number. They adjusted it. I didn't have time to go with that. We just want to put it behind us. But that penalty, 40%, would be like a backbreaker for us with all these new regulation and laws coming up with our industry here. That would really, would, like, if not, put us out of business. So we're asking you guys to work with us and save us. That was done by honest mistake. If was any mistake done, we're willing to pay the whatever the CDTFA asked for, but the penalty is kind of hefty.
This is Danny Sale. As Yunan said, that basically we agree the CDTFA's audit result. We totally agree with the result, the principle. Yeah, but as he said that there's a couple of locations. There's a transfer the inventory between those locations. I think there's some errors on the POS system. So first time we handle, the employee handle those kind of inventories, there's some mistake. That's actually honest mistake. There's no intention to hide any sales tax or what. So basically, we accept those result, the audit result, but as a first time, just we ask you to waive the penalty, at least reduce some of the penalty to go on the business. There's a big chunk of the money to pay the penalty for there's a big burden. So just give us those break. That's it.
So in a little bit of a lull, I apologize. I didn't properly enter the documents from the department in the record. So if, without objection, I'm going to enter into the record the department's exhibits A through F that I generally described a few minutes ago. With that, I guess my question for appellant was that there isn't a dispute that the amounts for sales tax were collected and not remitted. The question is just from your perspective is simply whether or not there are circumstances to give relief for the penalty that's been imposed. Do I understand that correctly?
Probably yes, but we don't believe like we were not recording any sales tax. To our knowledge, we just minus the one was ringed up as a retail sales tax, but they were not retail, not sold to customer. They were like just inventory transfer. So when we submitted the audit and the receipts and everything, the audit came back and adjusted the numbers. We just took them for that. We didn't even go back and audit it because we didn't have time and we don't want to go through this. We just want to put it behind us. But we here asking you that penalty, 40% penalty, that would be a backbreaker on us. And something we don't believe we did or anything.
Do either of my panelists have any questions of appellant before we move on? No?
Sorry, I did
Judge
have
Kim? That's okay.
just one question. Can you explain how the amount that you reported was different, the tax amount that you reported was different from what was recorded on the sales overviews?
Yeah, I'm not sure of the amount, but the way it was done, we showed you records of that. We have a warehouse, and we also like supply our shops from the warehouse. It's in the same building. So my other son was ringing up the warehouse item, bringing to the store, as selling them to the customers. All he wanted to do was track the inventory. He didn't know any better. But he ring them up as a sales tax item. He saw that was like $7,000 sale, $12,000 sale, $13,000. No individual would buy that much money. So according to our calculation, we calculated and submitted everything right. But when you guys read the audit, when we submitted the file to you, the paperwork, and you guys came back and adjusted the audit for like $6,000, $7,000 in our favor, we just didn't go back and audit you back. We just wanted to put it behind us and move on. So the only issue we have right now is that 40% penalty. It'd be a backbreaker for us with this today's economy, new laws and regulation is really here, and we have a lot of people employed by us. So we have loans we have to pay on this. So we're asking you as a one-time courtesy that 40% penalty is really too much. We call it like an honest mistake or like something was overlooked.
Okay. So just to clarify, what you're saying is that you're accepting the audit findings, but you're saying that actually those are not sales, but they were transfers?
Yes, inventory transfer, exactly.
So CDTFA adjusted already. Those are some of the numbers. They verify that. So, but that's not all of them because we couldn't do the audit again to check it one by one again all the way. So we just that's fine. We just pay all the tax not paid it, but somehow we quarterly request to the reduce the penalty for the first time.
And also, like in our industry, average ticket about $15, $20, give and take. No one customer will come and pay $2,000, $7,000, $13,000 sale. All that was inventory transfer.
Okay, so why are you unable to verify that those were not sales?
No, we did verify them. We showed you guys proof, and you guys adjusted the numbers in our favor, like $6,000 or $7,000. I don't recall exactly.
You mean CDT,
Because it's only
CDTFA?
common sense. Say that again?
You mean CDTFA
It's
adjusted?
only, yes. CDTFA adjusted that.
Adjusted, yeah,
Yeah.
we reduced the total tax of liability about around $6,000 or $7,000 reduced it. They reduced already.
Okay, but I thought the issue was unremitted tax reimbursement that was collected. So
Yeah, I think if I can interject a little bit, I think the department will respond. I think there's an adjustment that's been made for transfers that
Correct.
were not sales. And so that actually has been taken out. It's not part of the calculation for the imposition of the penalty. I think that's been adjusted by the department, but maybe the department can address that in their comments.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions yet? Okay, we'll go on to the department.
Thank you. Good
Thanks for joining
morning.
us.
At issue for this appeal
Good
is
morning.
whether. Good morning. At issue for this appeal is whether the unremitted tax reimbursement collected penalty, or UTC, was properly imposed for fourth quarter 2016 through fourth quarter 2017. Appellant, a California corporation, is a cigarette and tobacco retailer. They were selected for audit for the period October 1st, 2016 to September 30th, 2019. A notice of determination was timely issued on December 27th, 2022, Exhibit C. As stated in the 2023 Office of Tax Appeals Precedential Opinion, Appeal of B. Senahi, doing business as Barefoot Cafe, in order to impose the 40% penalty pursuant to Revenue and Taxation Code Section 6597A1, it must be shown by a preponderance of the evidence that 1, appellant knowingly collected sales tax reimbursement from its customers, 2, appellant failed to timely remit the sales tax for which it collected the reimbursement, and 3, the amount of sales tax collected but not remitted exceeds the applicable threshold. The penalty does not apply if the person's liability for unremitted tax or tax reimbursement averages $1,000 or less a month, or does not exceed the 5% of the total amount of the tax liability for which the tax or tax reimbursement was collected for the period in which the tax was due, whichever is greater. If a person's failure to make a timely remittance of sales tax reimbursement is due to reasonable cause or circumstances beyond the person's control and occurred regardless of exercise of ordinary care and in the absence of willful neglect, the person shall be relieved of the UTC penalty, according to Revenue and Taxation Code Section 6597A2B. For these purposes, reasonable cause or circumstances beyond the person's control that caused the failure to timely remit includes, but is not limited to, the death or serious illness of the person or person's next of kin, an emergency defined by Government Code Section 8558, a natural disaster or other catastrophe directly affecting business operations, the department's failure to send returns or other information to the correct address of record, the failure to timely remit occurred only once over a 3-year period or once during the period in which the person was in business, whichever is shorter, or the person voluntarily corrected errors in remitting tax or tax reimbursement collected prior to being contacted by the department regarding possible errors or discrepancies. These are found at Revenue and Taxation Code Section 6597, subdivisions B1A through F. Appellant contends that any failure to remit sales tax it collected was unintentional and a result of unsophisticated business practices. However, the requirements for imposition of the penalty of 6597 are still met. Specifically, the records that appellant provided show that it collected sales tax reimbursement on all sales for the liability period. This is evidence that appellant knew it collected the sales tax, which it failed to remit. Appellant pilfered thousands of dollars of sales tax that it collected for its own use. Even with the re-audit adjustments, as shown in Exhibit F2 and Exhibit B, which has been discussed here today, that reduced the aggregate deficiency by $78,000, resulting in a tax reduction of $6,000 and reduction of the 40% UTC penalty by approximately $2,500, the 1,005% thresholds are still met. As shown in the re-audit work papers, specifically Exhibit F2, worksheet 12A1, page 11 of the re-audit document, the unremitted sales tax reimbursement of $21,765 averages more than $1,000 a month during the UTC penalty period and is more than 5% of the recorded collected sales tax reimbursement, specifically between 33 and 40% for those 5 quarters, fourth quarter 2016 to fourth quarter 2017. As is required by law and precedent, the department has established by a preponderance of the evidence, or more likely than not, that all requirements for the imposition of the penalty have been met, and there is no lawful basis, due to reasonable cause or circumstances beyond its control, to relieve the penalty. So based on the law and evidence, we ask the panel to deny this appeal. Thank you.
Questions to the panel? Mr. Aldrich, do you have a question?
Sure. I'll direct this to the appellants. I'm not sure who can best answer this, but Mr. Yunin, I believe you were talking about there was a warehouse. Did the Vape Lounge possess a wholesaler license or a distributor license?
Yes,
Yes.
we have a wholesale license and distributor license.
Okay. At any point, did you submit a document called a CDTFA 735, which requests relief from penalties and interest?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Do you know if appellant at any point in this post-appeals process submitted a CDTFA 735? It's a form that makes a request for relief of penalties and interest.
We asked the relief of penalties.
Okay.
But we haven't filled out those forms yet.
We haven't filled them out. Okay.
Thank you. 1 second. All right. Thank you. I'm going to refer it back to Judge Turner.
Okay. Mr. Yunin, you guys have 5 minutes in reply to the department's presentation, and then we'll settle up with any additional questions after that. So if you want to reply to the department's presentation, you have 5 minutes.
Yes, thank you all again. When I was called into this big mess, and they had a bookkeeper in the house, and I had to let go because I don't know if she was doing or not. She was filing all the sales tax, but what I find out, they were doing inventory transfer and ringing up as a sales tax. We never collected any sales tax on that. So if anything, we have no intention of whatsoever of not to report the full amount. If anything was overlooked or was done by mistake or something. After all, we use a cloud-based system. Everything is on a cloud base. So there's nowhere for us to hide anything. So we are asking for one-time courtesy. The 40% is bad breaker for us. When we submitted our appeal in, they read it, the audit, they asked for a lot of statements. I give it to them. They adjusted the sales for like she mentioned, $60,000 or $70,000. We were credited $6,000 on the amount. We did not go over it. We just wanted to put it behind us and move on and finish with this. So all we're asking you right now, just for the penalty, is hefty. So anything you guys could help. This would be like a disaster for us if we had that penalty.
Understood. Any additional questions from the panel for either the appellant or the department?
No questions, thanks.
Okay. All right. Well, so with that, we have received your testimony and the documentary evidence. At this time, we're prepared to close the record. The record will be closed. This case has been submitted on January 14th, 2025. Thank you for everyone for participating today. The judges will meet to deliberate and decide your case. We'll issue a written opinion within 100 days. Today's hearing, the appeal of the Vape Lounge, Inc. is now concluded. The record will be, let's see, what else we have. I think this is our last appeal today. So the hearing itself will be adjourned, and it concludes the hearings for the calendar for today. If I'm not right, if someone from the department can, from OTA can make sure I'm accurate on it, but otherwise.